Welcome back to the Unleashed Advisors channel. I'm Annie Nash with the Unleashed Advisors team at eXp Realty, and I'm here today with my husband, Craig Nash. And so we've got some exciting topics for you today. So, the election is over. Now what?
That's a great topic. So we had a big presidential election in 2024 in November, and Donald J. Trump is our next president. So it'll be interesting to see how that actually affects the real estate market. And we're going to kind of talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
So
I think one of the exciting things about this is that, one, we know because he was president before, so we kind of know what his policies were. Mm-hmm. And so we can kind of estimate and forecast what his policies will be to come. So I'm excited about this conversation. Where do you want to start?
Well, let's talk about the elephant in the room. That's interest rates. So that seems to be the driving force of how the market goes. Interest rates, when they're high, sales kind of decline. When they're low, sales kind of increase. That's kind of how it works. So back when he was president before is when we had 2 and 3% interest rates.
Yeah, we kind of had historic low interest rates.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that will continue, or we'll start to see some of that happen in 2025 after he's sworn in?
So I don't actually see us getting back to the 2 and 3% interest rates. I'd love to see that, but that was historically low, once in a lifetime kind of thing. But who knows? I don't have a crystal ball by any means. I do see a decline in interest rates. That's just because I feel like inflation will start to take a more stable approach and more, get back to normalization. A lot of that has to do with, different economic policies, so, and once inflation's under control, you kind of don't have to raise interest rates. The Fed will start lowering that rate, and then the bond rate will actually come down a little bit too. So money will get, cheaper to get. And then that's how, the markets will grow in that respect. So, but at the same time, interest rates come down. What happened to house prices?
House prices usually go up, but what interest rates going down provides buyers is it allows them to have a little bit more buying power.
Yep.
On the flip side of that is when interest rates come down, more buyers enter the market. And because we had typically been at a low inventory situation, then you've got more buyers in the market, fewer homes available, so then prices end up going up. Right now, since we're kind of at that 60 to 80 days on market, which is what I've been seeing lately, I don't think that we'll have as much. I don't think it'll be quite like what we saw in 2020 when interest rates were down. I think somebody I talked to was like they almost had 1.75%. So extremely low interest rates. I don't think we'll ever see that again, but I do agree with you. I think interest rates might come down a little bit so that it allows a little bit more buying power. Hopefully we don't get into the mass bidding on houses, because that's not. That
was a really crazy time. And just to put that in perspective, like right now there's almost, there's probably 4,500 homes on the market.
Yeah.
And during that time, we got down to 700.
Yeah, I remember that because that's about when I started in the market, and I would go each day and look and see how many houses do we have on the market today. And when we got under 1,000, I was like, oh my gosh, this is getting harder and harder to find something for my clients. But then it also is harder for them to, once they find what they love, they've got to move really, really fast. And sometimes you make choices that you wouldn't if you could sleep on it a little bit.
Mm-hmm. That was when the inventory level was like a 6-hour window.
It was crazy. I don't want to go back to that. No. But I would like to see interest rates come down a little bit to make it a little bit more comfortable for some, especially first-time home buyers.
Yeah, for sure. It gives them more affordability. And I do see that happening a little bit in 2025. So historically speaking, 6.5 is...
That's a good rate.
Good rate. But I feel like it's going to go towards the 5s.
Yeah.
So, but don't quote me on that. I mean, if not,
It's going to be recorded forever now.
so. But that's kind of the one thing will be interesting to see the economic policies change a little bit to where it actually drives interest rates down just a little bit. So it'll be good to see that happen. So.
And we kind of already started the conversation. We're talking about interest rates, but then inventory is also, I think that they're tied together closely, because as interest rates come down, inventory levels may or may not go up or down, but currently.
Here's the other nice thing about it is the builders have had an opportunity to get caught up to the market a little bit. So the new construction is still going on, so it's still a lot of development. So that's a good thing. That way we're not just losing craziness of just no inventory at all.
Right.
So now builders have some inventory that they're built up, and people have options.
Yeah, and I think that's a big key, is as long as we've got enough balanced inventory. So we've got some resale, we've got a good number of resale, we've got a fair amount of new construction, and then everybody has an opportunity to find a home that fits their needs. Because not everybody's going to want a new construction home. Not everybody's going to want to go buy a resale. But if there's options for them that makes sense and fits their budget, then I think that makes a good opportunity for both buyers and sellers. Because I know that there was one point where there weren't enough resale homes available and new construction was there and they could get you in something quickly. And so having a resale was a little bit more challenging. Because the other thing was that new construction could offer different incentives that not every resale can do.
Yeah, very much so. So that'll be good with the interest rates too. Is this that?
Yeah, they'll tie together.
It'll all work together as far as new construction, resale.
I can't wait
to multiple options out there for people.
Yeah, I can't wait to see how that plays out.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that in 2025. I like the normalcy of a market versus the craziness of a market.
Yeah.
So I think there's going to be some normalcy to it. So that'll be good.
Yeah. So we talked a little bit about the policies that Trump had, or he discussed during the election. Do you have any of that information?
So one of the policies that's been discussed is like tax credits for first-time home buyers, a little bit different. Another one is going to be for like investors when it comes to capital gains tax and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting to see what the policies are exactly when they're implemented and see how they actually work for or against people that are buying a house. It really depends. So it'll be put upon us as realtors to understand what those policies are and how they affect the market. So I'm looking forward to seeing exactly what they are and how he approaches, the real estate market. So, I mean, he was a real estate mogul, so
right.
I'm sure he'll do it favorably anyway. So that is a good thing to know. The other thing that really has happened in the last few years is the migration trends that are happening. We've had multiple clients from out of state move to South Carolina, and it's been interesting to see how many people actually like move from Washington State, New York, all those places that experience some high tax stuff, and they move to like whether it be Tennessee, South Carolina, Florida. They move to the South. We've had people from Texas move in. We've had people from Louisiana move in. We've had from all over the country. And it's been interesting that South Carolina has been so growing in that respect. And a lot of that has to deal with the mild climate, I guess, and people just wanting to experience a little bit of that. It's interesting to see if that'll continue or if that'll kind of settle down a little bit. So, I mean, South Carolina is a great place to live. So a lot of people move here just because of that. But it'd be interesting to see how that continues. What are your thoughts about that?
I agree. We've had a lot of relocation from other parts of the country, whether it be the Northeast, the Midwest, the West Coast. So, yeah, and a lot of people are moving because of either taxation in the previous states that they're moving from, or even just the policies of those state governments. So it'll be interesting to see, at least for South Carolina, what that looks like. So I have to plug this in. If you're looking to move to South Carolina and you need some more information, reach out to Craig or I. We would love to help you with your relocation to the Greenville, South Carolina area.
Yeah, very much so. One thing we've also experienced lately is, with the hurricane, a lot of people have moved from North Carolina down into South Carolina. Mm-hmm. So that's been interesting to see a little bit of that. It's just, North Carolina, South Carolina, up in upstate of South Carolina, and then North Carolina, western North Carolina, where the hurricane was really devastating. A lot of people are just kind of stepping over the state line, which is interesting to see just because they have such devastation. South Carolina is similar territory and similar in respect that they aren't moving that big of a deal. It's still a commute for them, but it's just interesting to see that that's happened.
It will be interesting to see the outcome and what perception from people outside of the area that are relocating, how the hurricane and how impacts from the hurricane maybe affect their decision on where to move in South Carolina.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah. So is there anything you can, how do you feel like the luxury market's going to do, or even like first-time home buyers, or?
So I think with the policies that have been mentioned that Trump may likely implement, it'll help first-time home buyers for sure. If they have an option to receive a down payment assistance or some kind of a tax credit for purchasing a home, I think that'll help. I think we'll see more first-time home buyers start coming back into the market again. It also, with interest rates coming down, if they do, that'll help as well. The other thing on the luxury market side of it, with tax implications possibly being more favorable, I think we'll see more luxury listings and sales. What that looks like, I'm not 100% sure. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you about the tax stuff. And I also think that the luxury market is a very specific buyer as far as that goes. So they're looking for very specific stuff. Mm-hmm. So if you have a luxury home that meets their needs, it's going to sell. Yeah. So the first-time home buyer stuff, there's a lot of incentives for first-time home buyers. So it'd be interesting to see if it gets better for them as far as that goes, as far as tax credits go. The other thing that really is intriguing to me is the investment stuff. I mean, if interest rates are still, in that 6% range, investors are still going to buy up properties because it's going to be people are still going to need the rent. Yeah. So they're going to take advantage of that. But if the capital gains tax gets a little better for them, they might take an opportunity to sell some of those rental properties.
That's true. Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. And, it's just a matter of staying on top of it where everything is actually going. So what do you think about, with technology and real estate this coming year? I mean, I know we use some AI stuff,
Yes, we do.
So it'll be interesting to see how that plays a part into real estate even more. I mean, we're doing videos now. We're doing, stuff like that. And it'll be interesting to see how real estate agents actually take advantage of the AI stuff. I mean, we could do a whole podcast about AI in real estate.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's maybe something we do later. But it would be interesting to see, where that goes with some of the changing aspects with the lawsuit and all that stuff. And, people say, realtors are going to be irrelevant, so, which I don't believe at all. It's still a relationship business, one-on-one. Mm-hmm. So you have to build that relationship so people know, like, and trust you. And you actually provide a good service for them to get them in there. It's the largest transaction they're most likely going to do in their life is buying a home. Mm-hmm. So it's very important to build that relationship in the future. And, AI is this basically, for me anyway, is, I don't see AI selling a home.
No.
So it's more of an introduction for me.
Yeah, I think the way AI will change our market is going to be, it's going to help people who are interested in and they can use AI from a consumer standpoint. I think it'll help them possibly with getting more knowledge. It helps agents. The way I use it mostly is cleaning up a description or making something a little bit more compelling, because I am not a creative person, but AI and ChatGPT and all the other things out there, they seem to help me make something a little bit cleaner, make it sound a little better. So I'll use it for that. So it'll be interesting to see how other agents use it to come up with scripts or to write their...
we do a buyer persona for our sellers on their house. So it's kind of interesting how AI works with that.
Yeah.
If we have a house that meets this kind of criteria, who would be the buyer for it?
Yeah, that's what I use it for. It helps to update my description so that I can tailor it a little bit more to the person that would be interested in a home like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it's very, very interesting to see how that all works and where that's going. I mean, AI is developing every day, so
it does. It's developing at a rapid pace. So it's interesting, and I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes.
Yeah. So, but that'll be interesting to see in 2025. So how do you? I mean, in 2025, we all know this, and it's been the way it is in the past. Is buying real estate's been an emotional roller coaster for people. I mean, we always talk about it. I have to be a half psychologist to get through a real estate transaction. So I don't see that changing in 2025. There was a lot of emotion with the election.
Yes.
So it'll be interesting to see how that kind of settles down now that we know that it's certain who's in charge.
Yeah.
So what do you think about that aspect of everything?
I think from an emotional standpoint, the market I don't see emotion changing. I think, like you mentioned, that we're going to have stability, and we know who the president is. We know the elected officials that were on the ballot in November. We know all of that. So we kind of have an idea of where we're going to go. So that part of our life is at least calmed, whether you voted for Trump or you didn't.
Yeah.
That part I'm not trying to get into that. But at least that part is calmed, so we can focus more on what are we doing in the transaction and the emotions around why are you moving, why are you, why are you moving, the biggest piece of it, and then that house and helping to resolve the concerns with that specific transaction. Because sometimes I don't know that it matters I don't think it matters who's in office and what's going on outside when you're in that transaction. It is a highly stressful time because it is usually the biggest transaction that's going on in somebody's life. So that's always a little bit emotional and stressful.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, we heard October through November. I'm going to wait until after the election kind of stuff all the time. Well, the election's gone, so that emotional piece is gone. So let's go, Mm-hmm. But I really like the whole aspect of working with people through their emotions as far as getting them to the closing table. Mm-hmm. It's a good, it's difficult. It's one of those big, big things. What I don't like is when people get married, have a baby, and buy a house all at the same time. So
it's not that you don't like it. It adds a lot of stress to it. So let's clarify that a little bit because, those are three highly emotional things that happen in your life. I agree.
Do one at a time, not all three at the same time. So,
or do all three at the same time.
Yeah,
We're there to keep you calm and get you through the whole thing.
So
that's part of what our job is, and part of what I enjoy is being able to help take some of that stress from somebody and calmly get through a transaction. If I can remove some of that emotion, especially the fear part of the emotion, I don't want to remove the excitement because that's
the
like
fun
that.
part about it.
Yeah, but if I can remove the fear, that is a win to me.
Yeah.
And so getting into 2025 and continuing that, trying to make sure that I can remove the fear of the transaction, I think that's going to be a win for all of us, for all of our clients. But I think that'll be a good thing for 2025 as well.
So what is the one thing that you're looking forward to now that the election's over?
People getting back into okay, the election's over. We're going to get through the holidays here in a few weeks. Let's get back into, you're ready to move. Let's make that move.
Okay. So you're just looking forward to people pulling the trigger?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah, we've had a number of people that, I'm really excited. Yeah. Well, and now that we're like 2.5 weeks from Christmas, people have pumped the brakes again because
we're 2.5 weeks from Christmas.
Yeah, it's just other things going on. So I'm ready for us to open back up the doors and keep going. And those that are interested in doing it right now, let's go.
Yeah.
So that we can close you and get you into your house the first part of the year.
Yeah.
If not sooner.
Yeah, that'd be, one thing that we've learned is we got some pretty cool lenders out there that can actually do closings in pretty quick time. So
yeah,
we got one that said he'd do it in 10 days. So we're excited about that.
I'm ready to put him to work and see if he can actually do it. Not see if he can actually do it. I want to see him do it because I do have faith. I'm sure that he can and will be able to do it.
Well, I just want to say that I'm very excited about 2025. I'm excited that the election is over. I'm excited what this coming year is going to come to. I would love to have an opportunity to provide services for whoever. The services we provide is pretty much above and beyond what you'll experience with any real estate agent. We try to serve, not really just do a transaction. We want you to, get some service and become part of our family more than anything. So, we love meeting people. Wouldn't you say that?
Absolutely.
That's one of the things that I take joy in this job is that, I meet a different person every single day. So it's really cool to see, where that goes. So that's one thing I'm excited about 2025 is seeing all the opportunities that I have to make an impact on somebody's life.
Yeah,
so.
I'm looking forward to the things that we've started and really built on in 2024 and then having them really take off in 2025. Yep. I look forward to the people that we're going to impact and that are going to impact us through different real estate transactions, whether it's buyers, sellers, or other agents, because this whole thing is a relationship business. And so I look forward to what are we going to do in 2025 and what are the memories we're going to make?
Yeah, definitely so. Well, thank you for joining us on this podcast, and we look forward to seeing you on the next video. And look out, world, we are unleashed.